Oh, Mandy, you came and you gave without taking. But I pushed you down a spiral staircase and broke both your kneecaps. Hello, Let's Drown Out, and I'm Yahtzee Croshaw.
And I'm Gabriel. I don't have a fancy introduction.
And that's Bruce Gabriel Banner.
Mild-mannered Gabriel Morton.
So,
what was our word that we selected after we went off camera last?
Well, last week, after we forgot to do so during the record, we chose the word testily, randomly from my book Jam.
Testily.
Because it's a word I happen to like.
Testily.
Testily to mean pettily angry. Or,
doing something in a pettily angry way, I think, when you
Yes.
got the ly on the end of it.
So why don't you talk us through your choice?
Well, I chose, clearly Spider-Man 2 on the GameCube, which is...
Oh, you facetious little sod.
Yes, I chose what is I think much less people played, Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
I played it.
Yeah, so did I. I think it's a...
I didn't like it much.
Really?
Nah.
I don't know, see, I enjoyed it. I think it sums up... Or like, I think it's another example a bit like Spider-Man, where it does what the hero or the character is about.
I think I remember hearing that, like, it's made by the same guys who made Prototype, as well as being like Prototype.
Huh. Well, there you go.
So I guess we know what their comfort zone is.
I had a lot of fun with this when it first came out. Playing it again these days, obviously, it is, it's a GameCube title, so shit doesn't look exactly as crisp as you remember it. Like, do you remember when the GameCube graphics were like...
Yeah, I was reflecting on that as I tried to see if there was a bigger resolution than 640 by 480 that it would play on my desktop. And we're now peering at it at a tiny little screen, right in the middle of my Amnesia the Dark Descent desktop wallpaper. Yes, we know what Bruce Banner did to himself.
This is what happens when you masturbate, children.
With radioactive waste.
Yeah. Alright, so yeah, you get like a... It's sort of free roaming within little, sandboxes it gives you. And you can just sort of, this is the little opening stage, so you're in like a Hulk simulator that lets you understand how dangerous the Hulk is by just...
Okay, so...
juggernauting his way through shit.
So technically we're not actually playing as the Hulk at this point. We're playing a soldier. Playing a simulator.
Fuck you, Rock.
How meta.
So you can like charge up punches and you can grab things and... There's a guy talking right now about how dangerous the Hulk is, but he can go suck it. So yeah, you can pick stuff up, you can jump with it.
Yes, look how harmless the Hulk is. What's that guy so worried about?
He's just a jerk.
I think he's just, ableist. He's green-phobic or something. He's Hulk-phobic. And yes, you can throw vehicles like in Prototype at people, like in Prototype. I was replaying Prototype the other week, and I remember liking the game, but I sort of got bored of it fast, and I'm not sure why.
Do you think there's like a pretty significant problem with those kind of sandboxy games where once the inherent mechanic wears out, you're just sort of bored?
I think if you go for a really over-the-top game, then you do have to have your peaks and troughs. Because when you measure the engagement of a game, you measure it in terms of how much the line waves, not where the line is.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? See, if a line stays in the middle all the way, it's really boring. And if it stays at the top all the way, it's just, mind-numbing action all the way through, like a Modern Warfare game.
You need your peaks and valleys.
But what you want is a line that goes up and down.
Yeah.
That's how you measure, It's about juxtaposition more than anything else.
Yeah, well it's the journey between the two lines that makes something, like...
It's how you give people a sense of perspective for what kind of damage you're wreaking.
Yeah. And see, like that, like I just picked up a guy and I threw him. And another guy.
You ever played Katamari Damacy?
Only a little bit at a friend's house. I never sort of sat down and had the full experience.
Like in some of the later levels in that game, like the amount you grow throughout the course of the level is fucking nuts. Like you start off on street level and by the end of it you're sucking up continents and krakens and God.
I love Japanese games that end in just like absorbing God or fighting God.
Well, they all do, don't they?
These days, yeah, it's a classic Japanese trope.
I suppose those Katamari levels started on the street level that it gave them such a sense of, cathartic appeal.
You'd grown. Again, it's a journey.
You have to know what you've been missing.
Come to Hulky.
Like, is there a point in this game where you are not so hulky?
Oh, well, they, you know, like the little soldier guys is just like, you're annoying.
Yeah, they are clearly doing shit to you.
Yeah, they don't hurt, they're just there. But, you get, like, increasingly... that's what's happening. I'm pushing the wrong button, because I forget which ways my X's and Y's are mapped on this, this here. Oh, take that,
You
regular
did it
dude.
again?
What?
You start a sentence, get distracted by something in the game, and then don't finish the bloody sentence.
Well, you interrupted me before I got back to my sentence.
No, you didn't. You went on to a different thing.
No,
You went, oh, a thing's happening.
Yeah, that was an interjection. I was like, oh, look at that. But no, the idea is that
well,
when
you
you're
were
mapping...
taking bloody long.
Yeah, well, also I was talking about, like, the intricacies of controller mapping, which is not, like, legendarily
Yeah, in the
entertaining.
middle of a sentence that you'd started.
No, I was already talking about controller mapping.
Who the fuck taught you radio etiquette?
I'm gonna go with the nobody.
Well, it really shows. Now, what were you saying earlier?
I don't know, I forgot. Who the fuck taught you radio etiquette? You suck at this.
I'm trying to teach you on the fly. I'm like R. Lee Ermey.
Emery.
No, it's Ermey.
I'm nearly sure.
No, you are wrong.
We'll look this. We'll let YouTube look it up.
So anyway, when are you not going to be in the training mode?
Well, there are little exercises you gotta do, so I'll run over to one now.
Okay then.
There we go. I mean, the good thing about, having the Xbox controllers as pretty much default for sort of PC these days is they map really, really, really well to the old GameCubes.
Yeah, it's emulating pretty well, huh? Yeah. Well, the GameCube controller is basically just the standard controller setup that the dual analog stick, dual shock things
Just
spearheaded.
Yeah,
With
strangely
the
shaped in purple.
With the curious deficiency of only having one shoulder button.
Yeah, I always thought that was just a, like, why?
Yeah, that's one of the great mysteries of Nintendo.
Just why in general,
They carve their own path. You can't question it.
Well, I mean, you can, but I mean, God bless them for doing it. Someone's got to.
You know the other thing the GameCube controller did that other DualShock controllers don't is that it clicked when you pressed the shoulder buttons all the way in. The triggers, I mean. Which I think was a nice little feature. There were a couple of games I played that worked it into gameplay, right? If you didn't press it all the way in, then blah-de-blah.
Well, like, all the way in, it'd be like, you know... Oh, you dick butt.
You know,
Come to Gabriel.
Do it again.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I think the GameCube is my second favourite console ever after the PS2.
That's interesting. What makes you say that?
Well, same generation, really. They both benefited from having, like, decent graphics without the compromise of reducing gameplay to have them.
I suppose, like, what was it?
PS2 had the better third-party library, though.
Well, yeah. It's well and truly after Nintendo gave the shits to all their third-party parts.
I think particularly the GameCube controller is one I quite like as well. Like the standard DualShock, but it's got nice features, like the way the buttons for the thumb were laid out with the movement of the thumb in mind.
It was, yeah, like...
Organically.
I mean, that was good for a lot of stuff. It was notoriously kind of awkward for fighting games, but... That's,
well,
yeah, that's a
who
minor...
the fuck cares?
Well, yeah, I will admit that that is a minor sort of, Ooh, I got a comic book!
Minor sort of.
Pain in the ass.
Thank you. Wasn't hard, was it?
Oh, go fuck yourself.
What? I'm helping.
You could help, like, this is the thing, you yell at me to provide filler, and then when I need filler, you yell at me to speak.
I'm not the one who needs the radio training, apparently.
Yeah, I need it for my future career of, like, begging people for likes.
You never know.
Yes, I do, I don't...
Well, you know, it might be like in a bar having a chat when someone says, "Excuse me, I couldn't help overhearing. I'm with the university radio station. We're really on the lookout for talent."
Keep looking, buddy.
I think you would be perfect to do our Sunday morning breakfast show.
See, that'd be good for you, because this is like how you make your money and how you live.
Well, doesn't that idea appeal?
Huh?
Doesn't that idea appeal?
Well, to be honest, not wildly.
Well...
Oh, wow, I can do, like, sideways wall runs.
Well, what if we said you could talk about whatever you liked and play whatever music you liked?
Well, I mean, again, like, I'm busy. Like, I have other hobbies, that's the thing, like...
Like what?
Well, actually sitting around and playing video games, which is something I don't get to do enough. Training, which I just ripped that building. Training, which I sort of don't get to do enough, and also just being busy.
See, you're learning now.
Well, again, that's because you actually let me get back to my fucking point, as opposed to jumping in the second.
If you were getting back to your original point the first time I called you out this video, you were getting there on fucking snailback, man.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, sometimes shit just takes a little while.
Well, sometimes people get bored and stop listening.
Which they probably would
You
have
cannot control what other people take of
debate.
what... You cannot control what other people take from what you say. Only they control that. That's why it's important to get things out fast. Like, you know when you write an essay, first thing you do is summarize your whole argument in the first sentence or paragraph, ideally.
Well, in
sentence.
the paragraph, yeah.
And then you have earned the right to explain your position over the course of the essay because you've summarized it.
You do realize I do that as a thing, right?
Well, the same is true of like talking on these things.
Well, yeah, except that this is not an essay format. Like, this is a meandering wander. This is called Let's Drown Out, not Let's Succinctly discuss topics.
Well, there's difference between
I think that's the whole...
There's a difference between succinctly discussing topics and remaining interesting for the listener. But whatever, we're bickering too much.
Yeah, see? And the weird thing is, people seem to like the bickering. I think that's odd, but again, what people have enjoyed out of these, and what I think they should enjoy out of these, have always been insanely different, so I'm just sort of
that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, when you talk about, like, dictating what people should be enjoying out of things, where are you? You're entering entertainment police state territory there.
Says the critic.
I have never positioned any of my opinions as objective truth.
You do dictate. You do very much say what people should and shouldn't enjoy.
I don't think I, try to tell people what they should be thinking.
Well, you dictate what people should enjoy. That's your entire thing. Is like, you shouldn't enjoy this. You insult people for enjoying things you don't like. You do that to me frequently.
I'm trying to spark a passionate debate. I like to think of myself as someone who sparks a discussion after the fact, rather than a reviewer who just explains whether you should buy something or not.
See, that's an interesting thing to me. I've always been... Like, reviews have always been sort of perplexing to me. Like, I understood them in sort of the early era where we were all really beholden to video game magazines just to know that games existed. Like, there were days where you could just... You wouldn't know.
I was thinking back to the days of playing demos off CDs.
Yeah, that even. Well, I mean, that's... PC always had that advantage in that you could just, play it. Here's a version of the game.
There's a couple of magazines I used to read that would create their own sort of, like, thing around all the demos. They'd create a... Like, PC Gamer US used to have these weird sort of mini-games where you'd be walking around from a first-person perspective in a sort of Myst style and interact with characters and look for the demos in, like, items around the room.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Alright, now I think I'm the actual Hulk, because I can get hurt.
Okay. So it's not a simulation anymore.
No. I was Bruce Banner, like, just sort of chilling,
So, just looking at the core gameplay here, you punch shit, and you punch shit.
Yeah,
right.
and then little Kratos orbs pop out, and I can be better Hulk. Orbs!
Did you know Kratos was actually the name of a Greek deity? I was reading about this the other day as well. He was one of the sons of Zeus, obviously.
He had a lot.
His name literally means power or strength. He was one of a pair of, like, demigods.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. Like, when you get into the demigods, is ridiculously long family trees and complicated.
Zeus put it about, and Hera was very much a victim blamer.
I'm running with my car.
Yeah. I think the Hulk doesn't really understand how cars work.
I'm gonna pick up my car and take it for a run.
Use car to get to place faster. Hulk getting to place faster. Hulk sees appeal.
Take that, helicopter. Who's shooting rockets at me? So fucking inconsiderate.
That is...
Boing!
That was something that was fun from Prototype. Just karate kicking helicopters. And then grabbing them with your tentacle and climbing inside and murdering the pilot and taking the helicopter for yourself.
Alright, that's stupendous, their controls.
It was fun.
There we go!
It was full of those little moments. Like the moments where you subtly eat and disguise yourself as a soldier. And then do the little move where you accuse another soldier of being you. And all the other soldiers kill him. While they're doing that, you sneak up behind them and eat them as well.
I didn't know you could do that, that's cool.
It's cool, it was called the Patsy move. Like Alex Mercer would just grab an enemy soldier's rifle and they'd spin around for a second and he'd push him away and go, "It's him! It's him! Open fire!" And then because all the soldiers are all really nervous because they know you're around, they all panic and shoot. It's like a little simulation of police work in the United States.
Take that, United States police system.
Well, it's getting cartoonish now.
Well, I mean, you do have to remember that, you know,
There's a story every week that someone, like, was shot from 6 feet away because he wouldn't put down a sharp stick he was holding.
Well, you know, that's... Dude, they're seldom ever actually holding a sharp stick. That's... These days, you know, it'd be delightful for someone to actually be wielding a sharp stick. As opposed to, you know, just nothing.
And the police all cover it up for each other, and it's all really messed up.
An adversarial relationship between police and citizens is not a healthy place to go, and that's, you know, a war on drugs becomes a war on drug users.
An adversarial relationship between the government and the Incredible Hulk also tends not to end well. See, when they work together in the Avengers...
He's completely unarmed.
Yeah, everything's fine.
Get off my land!
Well, he's completely unarmed.
Stop hitting me with rockets!
Completely unarmed until he makes boxing gloves out of your tank.
Which he does do. It's a lot of fun.
I remember that. So, get to the jump mark and use it to escape.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this guy with me.
Okay. So, how's it going?
Okay. Just do a funny little awkward jump there.
Hop. Okay. Well, shall we talk about something?
Well, I mean,
talk about week 2 of the most toxic fucking debate in the history of video game news. Or shall we? Or how about we not?
The huge controversy this week being Yahtzee Kershaw had sex with someone.
No.
Not anyone in the gaming industry, mind, just someone. Yeah, this thing's well, I mean, is it a continuance? This is the thing, like.
Well, it seems to me that both sides seem to have, like, you know, the dick bags and the non-dick bags, and both sides only ever see the dick bags. So why don't we just change this to a dick bag versus non-dick bag conflict?
Because no dick bags think they're dick bags. That's the issue. If the dick bags were like, "Welcome, here's the dick bag barracks. Here's your complimentary bag.
Well,
fill it with yourself because you are a dick." Like, it's, you know, if we were that simple, I'm sure it would be fine.
There's some plot going on now, is there?
Yeah, you know, I just rock up naked at people's doors an awful lot. Help! I'm the Hulk. I need you to cuddle me.
He doesn't have the same sort of sense of secrecy as the television series Hulk, did he?
The television series Hulk was always a little bit weirdly its own canon.
He didn't risk shit, that guy. He just refused to even get to know anyone in the slightest possible way.
Well, you know, if he gets upset, he turns into a giant green rage monster and crushes people.
Well, you know, I could just, you know, subtly bring that over in like, the second date. There's something I should probably tell you before this goes, because if you just describe it, it doesn't sound so bad. You know, sometimes I turn into a giant green rage monster, but somehow maintain control of my moral compass. And so that I only beat up absolute dick bags.
It's not that Bruce Banner maintains control of his own moral compass, it's that Hulk has his own moral compass.
Ooh, now we're getting deep.
Well, that's the thing, Hulk's his own character. I think that's the biggest issue with all the Hulk movies so far, is Hulk hasn't been, like, a character in them. He's just been, like, the screamy, punchy thing, whereas, you know, in the comics and the animated, you know, shows, he's very much his own person.
Hulk doesn't strike me as a fellow who's concerned about collateral damage much.
There was a weird... I think it was in one of the preludes to World War Hulk, where, they had this weird, like, kind of way of explaining that all of his chaos isn't really chaos. Yeah, like, the gamma also affects his brain, so he's a super genius, and everything he hits is designed to not land on people. Like, I know, don't get me wrong, I think that is catastrophically dumb.
For the benefit of the tape, I'm making a gesture with the hand as if waving a sausage.
Waving a Kransky.
That is exactly the kind of wanky retcon I expect of comics at this point. It's like that whole thing about Superman wearing secret hypnosis spectacles.
Was that it? I thought... I don't know, I thought they came up with...
It's one of many explanations. He's got the sort of constant low-level hypnosis power going on that makes everyone see him as really weak and frail.
I want a mod for this so I can be Juggernaut. Oh, so there's more of these guys. Alright, I have to take these dudes seriously now.
It was literally focused through his spectacles, and it was all happening without him realising it.
Where the fuck are they?
Where the red circles are, right?
Yeah, but they keep sort of, like, vanishing.
Now see, that cop's dead now.
Yeah.
That is a dead cop.
It's a dead officer. Officer down.
His spine is broken, his organs are now liquefied.
His
and
children
dribbling
are
out his
orphans
orifices.
because their mothers all had heart attacks after seeing the footage.
And his children are all going to go up to the Hulk and go, "Why I haven't got Daddy.
Why did you kill my daddy?
When did you kill my daddy? I have to live with my smelly aunt now."
And then Marvel will try and retcon it by saying that it's okay, it doesn't really kill.
No.
All of this chaos,
He used his secret gamma radiation
His
telekinesis
secret brain powers.
to turn the police car into marshmallow moments before the policeman hit it. Do you ever watch Ang Lee's Hulk film?
Yes.
I noticed watching that there's an almost psychotic amount of work goes into making sure the Hulk doesn't kill anyone. Like, there's a scene where the Hulk's smashing up a helicopter, and then it seems really out of place and dubbed in after the fact, but you can hear a radio voice saying, "We're all right, but you'd better get him off us."
Hulk doesn't kill. None of this could possibly hurt somebody else.
I think the only guy who dies in that film is the guy who they've patiently, over several scenes, established to be a complete, irredeemable dickbag.
Hulk's dad, the sort of
Oh yeah, and the other one. You know.
hastily organized, absorbing man, I think he was meant to be by the end of it.
Yes.
Absorbent man.
I heard that was an existing character, not exactly one of the iconic villains.
He's not a bad fit for
Well,
Hulk.
Hulk doesn't really have a rogues gallery like other superheroes do.
I think
does he?
that's sort of with only a few exceptions of like maybe Spider-Man. Marvel's rogues gallery has never been that strong, and I think that kind of comes across in a lot of the.
I think there's a lot of arching going on. Like Fantastic Four's got Doctor Doom.
Doctor Doom is one of the few. Fucking. Mass! Grr, lads! Doctor Doom's probably one of the few examples of a really. Like, you know, Doctor Doom, what's his name? Thor's nemesis, Loki. Like, decent
The
nemesis
Marvel
have always
universe
been.
is such a fucking clusterfuck of genres and.
I mean, come on, dude. Like, how many years of persistent plot? Like. Come here, buddy. Gamma Crush.
He's alive.
Yeah, he's fine.
He's alive. You're standing on that magical soft bit of pavement.
he's you know, got a pension now. So that's, you know, he's with his kids. That's it's really a good thing, actually.
Well, he did massively break his spine, but he got a huge payout for that.
Oh yeah, that's, you know,
yes.
best
And
bit you hint.
yeah, he managed to get an all-new spine made of titanium
Made out of old RoboCop parts.
to replace his old spine, which is now kept inside the family beanbag.
It's so much easier to repack spine bits than it is beanbag beans. They have a more natural weight to them. You have to admire the courage of a cop that's gonna, like, just get their service pistol out and kind of shoot at the Hulk.
Them cops are dedicated in the Marvel
That is,
universe,
yeah, those are some police that you can believe in.
though one wonders why they would be. One, because superheroes just show up all the time and sort everything out for them.
Yeah, well, technically Ben Grimm's supposed to be in the Hulk's gone mental, better go deal with him sort of crew.
As long as the police officers just stay behind their cars having shootouts with bank robbers for long enough, sooner or later Spider-Man's going to show up.
Yeah.
Even faster if they kiss each other.
Let's kiss.
That's a reference to a comic strip that people like.
Oh. That's great. I haven't seen that comic strip, so I'm just gonna mope about it.
Okay, it was
You jerk.
You know those
How
famous.
dare
like,
you say something I don't fucking directly understand?
You know those. You've seen those really famous rewrites of Spider-Man newspaper comics, where he goes, "My doctor's retired. I don't have a brain hemorrhage.
Yeah.
Look, my arch nemesis, a truck." But it was one of those.
Oh, okay.
Where there's got two cops saying, "If only Spider-Man were here, he'll come if we kiss each other." We found this last year. It's totally sick, but he honestly gets here within seconds.
So this is kind of fun, like just boosting around. You can run up, just running up a building with Hulk.
This is very prototypey at the moment.
I'm gonna look that up. Like, if it really is the same crew, it's just like, you know, it'd be fun if we did this and we didn't have the Hulk license.
I think. Don't quote me on this. I think it's. Oh, got my eye.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have the power to settle this, Yahtzee. I don't know why.
I think.
What's wrong with you?
I think it was Free Radical Games.
Are we?
I will look that up.
Volition. Weren't they involved somewhere?
Well, you know what the games industry's like. 12 different
Incestuous.
guys, 12 different companies working on a single game. Bear with me. Right, well, we've also got a couple of news topics, not much to speak of.
Oh, Christ.
But there's a quote from Shigeru Miyamoto that was some interest.
Oh, that was fun.
He was talking about Nintendo moving forward, wanting to concentrate more on the hardcore fan base rather than the casual that is catered to in previous years. With
Well,
the
it
Wii
was
and the
basically
DS.
like, okay, you know who won the casual fight? Phones.
Well, yes, and Nintendo just have this thing against doing mobile gaming. There's no reason they couldn't third-party it, but no.
I mean, would you want that? You don't care. You don't even have you don't have a Nintendo bone in your body.
Well, like I said, I like the GameCube. I'm loyal to a company as long as they make good shit that I currently use. I guess that's not really loyal to
I was just, I was gonna point it out, but I'm like, no, let him find it himself.
Just call me a mercenary in the field of video games. In the console wars.
Your friend through
I'm your friend.
thin and thin. Like, no, never thick.
Yes.
If it gets thick, I'm out. Like, if it's ever hard, I'm fucking out of there, chum. But, you know.
I'm like the Blackwater in this particular conflict. As long as you're paying the bills with fun, then I'm on your side. But as long as the moment I get a higher bidder, I'm fucking out of here.
The moment you disappoint me in one way,
Prototype. Video
Nazi
game.
stab his mother for $1 Kershaw. Alright.
I wasn't Free Radical, it was Radical Entertainment. That's right, Free Radical were the guys who made Time Splitters.
What about Volition? Were they involved?
Bear with me.
I mean, I don't think it's too hard to have, you know... This isn't a hard idea to sort of come to independently.
No, it just says,
I mean, it's a matter of his execution, really. Super jump! Yeah! Hulkin.
oh, wait a minute.
Hulkin. Jump.
Wait a minute, I think I got my wires crossed a bit here.
You...
Oh, but, oh no, I was wrong.
Okay,
See,
what's going on
I was double wrong. It said
That's what?
It said
That's
earlier
fantastic.
that while Radical was a subsidiary of Vivendi, they made Hulk, which was the tie-in for the Ang Lee film.
That was
then-
almost...
But then later they made the Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, same guys, when they formed Radical properly.
Okay, so who's doing what now?
Okay, Radical Games
Yes.
made the Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction,
Super.
and later made Prototype.
Ah.
That's why they're similar.
Huh.
Volition has nothing to do with it. It was
okay.
distributed by Vivendi Universal. That might be where you got confused.
Alrighty.
Volition
well,
were the
look at
guys.
that.
Volition were the
Some
guys.
history.
It's funny you should mention Volition because they're the guys who made Saints Row.
That's why they're in my head, because we just watched the Saints Row Gat Out of Hell trailer.
Well, we'll get to that later. But yes, Miyamoto was saying that they want to focus more on their hardcore stuff, which I support, of course.
Being that you loathe the filthy casuals.
Yeah, I mean, people have said to me that they consider Mario a casual game just because it's light and colourful and
That's-
family friendly.
Have you tried to play some of those later stages in the
Well,
fucking
yes,
most
this is my
recent?
point. Mario is very far from a casual game.
Yeah, especially when you want to actually... Because in order to get to the last world, you have to get all the fucking bits and bobs. Like, you can't just have finished the stage. You have to finish the stage with all the fucking gems and coins and whatever bullshit. Ow! Stop fucking electrocuting me.
Still, it's a little bit disingenuous, Nintendo, a little bit, because they literally used the word pathetic to describe casual gamers. I got a quote here.
Yeah,
Possibly
but that's...
there's a translation issue here.
Yeah,
but
see, this is the thing, like...
this is the quote from
Japan
Miyamoto.
has so many shades of pathetic, it's hard to...
Well, the quote from Miyamoto here was, "Casual gamers do not know how interesting it is if you move one step further and try to challenge yourself with more advanced games." And since Miyamoto was the guy spearheading the whole Wii Sports shit from the start, it seems a bit, you know, flip-floppy of him.
Well, you know...
It's easy to make those positions after the Wii.
As a creator, would you not... Well, the Wii did its thing. And again, like,
Yeah,
there
but-
were developments post-Wii, like mobile gaming was just like, boop. You know, are you really going to try and compete with the, casually with mobile gaming?
Well, when the Wii came out, it appealed to the casual audience,
Yeah.
of course. But I said at the right from the word one, I was saying the casual audience is a very
Fickle.
A very fickle, thank you. A very fickle audience. They'll be into your thing while it's the current big thing, but then they'll go on to like Furbies or Roombas or whatever the next thing is. And they realise that only after the fact. After they'd like almost completely alienated the traditional Nintendo audience, saying, yeah, we're making good bank with the Wii Sports and the Wii Music and the Wii in a toilet things. That was the best I could come up with while I was assembling the sentence in my head.
I seem to have pushed a button that turned this into Superman 64. I don't know how that button was allowed to be put into this game, but...
Well, at least it's not rings.
Yeah, it was cubes. It's much better. I mean, at least scooting around as Hulk is still sort of...
superhero sandboxes games always have race missions, don't they?
Yeah, like here, we built a location, scoot around it, I'm sure you'll derive some fun out of that.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've been waiting for this, I think it's... Okay, no, that's the same shitty thing I didn't want to do.
Miyamoto's finally expressing something we realised a long time ago.
Well, again, it's, you know, this is the nature of things, you know, it's like when you know, musician's been working for ages, and they're torn between, do they stay as... Alright, what's that thing? Oh, that's the one I already did. Do they stay doing the same sort of fucking music they've done over and over again, and risk being boring, or do they try some experimentation and risk being alienating? Like, I think, you know, it's
well, it worked for the Beatles.
Oh, yeah, some of them pull it off, but...
The Beatles were the classic band that managed to go from, you know, bubblegum pop to artistic exploration the right way.
Well, you know, I'm saying it's not impossible, but...
I mean, can you... I'm trying to think of other bands that have done that, actually. I'm going to have to try finding it quite hard. Well, I'm not the person to ask about music.
Yeah, I suppose
I'm a games journalist, bitch.
Are you?
Yes, and I know that pisses you off.
No, like I said, it's... The problem I had with games journalism isn't so much that it was the way games journalists would say they were games journalists, like that was a thing. In an era when the only barriers to being a games journalist was owning a computer with an internet connection and being literate.
I think we've had this debate, but
that second one is fairly broad.
The difference is when you're making an actual living from it.
Well, yeah, but again, even these days, that's not, you know... If we monetized this, then technically I'd be a games journalist.
Arguably, yes.
See, I'd argue no. Though.
We are operating from a position of criticism here.
Yeah, well, I think criticism and analysis is slightly separate. I think
it's a subsidiary of journalism.
I mean, this could easily be in academia, though. Like if, you know, this could be considered a...
Well, there's a fine line, isn't there?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is why I've wanted you to do more long-form essay stuff. And, you know,
with all that free time I've got.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, you've said yourself that you're not going to be doing fucking zero punctuation forever. I mean, are you going to still be doing this at 60?
Well, to be perfectly frank, I've been saying that for years.
Well, yeah, there we go. So yes, you know, you will be doing this to 60, we've just discovered.
Sometimes I wonder if I'm, like, going to end up in a sort of at-the-movies groove. Where it's just...
I got dibs on being Margaret, because you are already David Stratton.
I was thinking more Siskel and Ebert, thank you.
Well, no, that's, you know, I'm Margaret, you're David, because you do look a bit David Stratton-y.
Yes, you said that. But if you're happy to be Margaret,
I'm totally happy. Margaret's a saucy old mix, she's great.
This is a reference to Australian television that nobody outside the country will get.
Well, you know, we are in Australia, we can talk about our own bits and pieces.
But this is on the internet. On the interwebs.
I think we already focus on the foreign audiences too much. Goddamn foreigners.
Well, what's wrong with globalization? What's wrong with all being a big happy family?
Oh!
There should be more points of agreement.
Yeah.
Maybe someday a U.S. Marine will be captured by Afghan extremists in the Middle East, and while he's handcuffed to a radiator, licking the wall for nourishment, he'll amuse himself by humming the zero punctuation theme tune. And then he'll notice all the terrorists have joined in. And then they'll become friends and bond and reminisce over their favourite videos over the years.
Their favourite Yahtzee moments.
And I will have saved a life that day and built a little understanding between cultures.
Yahtzee legitimately has this fantasy. This is in no way spurious.
Is it?
I just know it in your mind. You're like, I saved the day.
Is it such a terrible dream?
Well,
I
terrible, no.
I just used myself as an example.
I'd say cute is probably more the word I'd use.
Just using Superman as an example, I'd like it if it happened with any form of globalized culture.
Oh, no, so, yeah, it's...
Like Carl Pilkington's.
I think the nice thing is we are kind of losing a lot of the barriers. You know, I'm doing like research into, well, not really, I'm not personally doing research, but I'm doing a lot of reading on formats of studies of youth culture at the moment, and...
That's why I hate these cultural appropriation motherfuckers, trying to put more walls between us.
I know. No one owns culture. If someone appropriates your culture, appropriate it back. About the worst thing where am I going? What am I doing?
I don't know.
Am I supposed to be fighting that guy? I think
you're supposed to be dealing with the things that are red circles.
Alright, do I have to go to a place? See, the red circles are enemies. Alright, well I'm up here now, so that seems good.
Maybe it would help if you put subtitles on. So we could
yeah,
hear
well,
when people tell us to go.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
What's that blue bar about?
I think that's the health of the thing I'm carrying? Yes, because it just took a missile to the face.
Yeah, and lost a huge amount of health.
Alright. Okay,
Yep,
maybe I have to get to the green thing, because this HUD is...
Whoops.
Yep, okay. Deliver the mainframe safely to the church.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Damn it, what was I saying? I almost had a head of steam there.
I wasn't really listening.
This is the problem. I think we can go through entire ones of these without ever paying attention to each other.
Possibly.
We should try recording. This is something we should do, is to try recording two entirely separately and then just connect the two and see how different they really are.
We should do the one-word story game.
I hate that game. You know I don't like that game.
The whole idea of that game is to sort of relinquish control of the debate and listen to the other person. That's what it teaches you.
Let's do that at the end.
Okay.
I'd rather talk about sort of, you know, the meta of gaming journalism. Because I mean, again, like, from... Oh yeah, that's right, youth research I was talking about. Well, that's sort of moot now. But I mean, from the perspective of someone who would like to see more, at least, attempts at more complex analysis and critique of games, I think you're in a good position to be doing some of that. And I would like to see you, right, you know, because we bring up games that we both really enjoy, like, you know, what's it, Silent Hill 2 is obvious, you know, the obvious one that comes up an awful lot. And I'd like to see you go on at length about the minutiae, you know, really like a proper critical analysis of Silent Hill 2 and why this stuff works.
Well, if we did like a Let's Play, I could possibly do that.
Well, instead of a Let's Play, like a Let's Deconstruct.
Do it with a bit of...
do it really artsy.
Do it with a bit of post-processing.
Yeah.
Like the way I'd picture something like that.
And I'd like to do one for Killer 7.
The way I'd picture... Well, that'd be fun. Well, that's so open to interpretation, it's not even funny.
That is where you get excellent critical work, though, because it, you know, if nothing else, that will spawn conversation, because you can have so many opinions about Killer 7. It's great fodder for that sort of business, because I loved Killer 7.
There is a lot of external canon. Like, I think there's a book somewhere called Hand in Killer 7 that explains some things about the plot. But not very little in the game itself, of course.
Yeah.
Did you ever play Killer is Dead?
That's the most recent one on the moon or some shit, isn't it?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't play that expecting something Killer 7-y.
Well, no. I mean, I think at the moment we're in that realm of Suda 5-1. Did you actually make the game, or did... You know, what's going on here?
Yes, but I was talking about like a Silent Hill 2 Let's Play. How I'd do that is I'd probably do it, record the footage first, talk over it after the fact, and when something like important happens, maybe just do like a freeze frame.
Pause and deconstruct.
And then give it like a scripted explanation of something that just happened and why it's important and stuff. The thing to notice in this scene is that James Sunderland appears to be walking around like he's been clubbed around the head with a stick.
He also frequently sounds like he's been clubbed around the head with a stick.
And sticks his head down toilets.
Alright, that's not where I have to go, so that's super.
And I quite like watching Dark Souls story explanation videos on YouTube.
Smash grab. Go to. Okay.
There's an Australian guy, I think his name's Vati Vidya, does some really good Dark Souls lore explanations that
oh, cool.
Explains like the backstories of characters and
jump marker, story mission, go to. There's no go to.
It's fun to do.
Yeah, well, this is what I mean. Like, critique is fun ultimately. Like, people become dickbags about it and take it way too seriously, but...
There's a green circle on the map.
Yeah, but it has to be a green circle with another green circle in it to be the go-to marker, and I just don't see any of them around. Like, it says go to the church, it's like, awesome.
Maybe you're supposed to go to all the green circles?
Oh, piss off. Punch. Punch!
Eat
it!
Does his little Superman glide through the air.
How are you still? Fuck off! Go away! Leave me alone.
Okay,
Not Hulk's friend.
Stand on that thing.
That's a jump marker apparently, which is like how I get out of. Maybe that's.
Well, stand on it and jump on it then.
All right, maybe I gotta get the fuck out of dodge because this seems a little chaosy.
Just a bit. Oh, okay.
Fucking super duper. Oh, church
there you
hideout.
go, church hideout.
Whee!
There you go. There's your green marker with the thing in it.
Double time.
Yeah, I feel we've achieved something.
We fucking did.
Those weird GameCube
We put our heads together. Because the fun thing about, like, you know, criticism's a good exercise, but, you know, I think it's important to remember also that it's not a science. Like, you start out with an idea and then you cherry pick to prove it. Like, that's the nature of criticism.
I've been putting a really unnecessary amount of thought lately into the idea of a unified game world narrative in the tradition of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, or the Wald Newton family hypothesis.
You and 80% of the internet.
Well, this one's mine.
Mine's better!
I just think I find it stimulating just for the intellectual exercise.
Oh
to
yeah,
explore
that's what I mean. Like, it is a
different
valuable...
links you can make in the larger connections between stories. Like,
Jump to the city.
Mm.
Jump.
Like, I hypothesized that the strange yellow material that is used in Half-Life as the mysterious crystal that sets off the disaster, and is used in a game like Singularity as a sort of miracle element that affects the flow of time. That, in this unified canon, could perhaps be a crystallized form of the Sands of Time from ancient Persia.
Cool.
I think it's fun to think about. But perhaps it didn't originate from ancient Persia. Perhaps it originated from an even older civilization when a celestial body impacted with the Earth and created a time loop over the preceding 3 days.
Would it have involved the fate of Atlantis?
As explained in the documentary game Zelda Majora's Mask.
Alright, what did I get up here?
A building.
Punch! Fall! I can't do it.
Fall. Flails.
Friggin' idiot.
Flail some more.
Alright.
That animation's
Mission
hilarious.
objective. Alright, get as many vehicles as high up the building as possible for... Okay, that's the stupidest... Alright, come on.
What are you trying to do?
Putting cars on a building, because fuck humans.
Is there a story reason for this?
Possibly? Be a giant dong?
Okay, how'd you put it down?
Oh, okay, that was just an orb. Well, I'm up top, so maybe just...
Okay.
Alright, there we go.
Okay, I guess you have to aspire for bigger vehicles.
Alright, so this is a silly buggers mission I've discovered.
Yep. I guess there's a few of those.
I don't think that's such a bad idea.
No, it's good to like not have to treat everything so bloody worthy all the time. And that's the problem with games like Prototype, I suppose. I mean, it is basically fun to run around a city, like smashing things. And this is what I always thought was a problem with...
I fell down.
That's the problem I had with Max Payne 3 specifically, is that it's really fun and action-packed to like slow-mo John Woo your way through a fight scene.
And that is fun.
But then the characters just go, whoa, I'm so miserable and crap at everything.
That is what I like, is his constant, like, dim impression of his abilities or usefulness, and it's like...
Bus!
Oh yeah, I saw that. Where are you, Bus? Come to Gabriel.
Come to Hulky.
Oh, sorry, innocent woman.
She's alright.
She's fine.
She probably landed in a body of water somewhere.
Yeah, due to Hulk powers.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but I have to put a bus on a building. I'm sorry.
I don't know why, I'm compelled.
I'm running really... I'm not gonna get up there in time.
Bollocks.
Well, I got a bronze medal. Okay, I wish...
Bronze is the shit medal.
I got a failure medal. You hear that, Olympics?
That's the thanks for trying award.
Everybody gets a medal. Everybody gets a medal.
Well, anyway.
Acquire a mission. Alright, that's fascinating.
The other news story that we alluded to earlier was the release of a trailer announcement for a standalone expansion of Saints Row 4 entitled Get Out of Hell.
That looks like a lot of fun. I do enjoy the,
I did get a heavy Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon vibe from it.
And God, was that not just a great fun piece of,
It was. But of course, remember, it was a piss take based on a game that was serious.
I know, that's what I mean. Like, I enjoyed that way more than I enjoyed Far Cry 3.
And this is more silliness in a game that's already sort of pushed the silliness to the limit.
Well, I mean...
Well, I suppose there's always room for more.
Yeah, like, if you can manage it, you can manage it.
But why...
I need to buy air recovery. Oh, okay.
Why do you have to play as Johnny Gat?
I don't know, see, I
don't know why
don't
the
really
Saints
have an
Row
opinion
series...
about him as a character.
Yeah, I don't know why the Saints Row series always, like, assumes we love that character so much. It just seems like a twat to me. I much prefer my,
Does it not appear to you that people like twats?
I much prefer my English-accented boss character.
I wonder why.
He was fun. It's funny it's how Saints Row 3 and 4 and 2, I guess, demonstrated to a certain extent how much different personality a different voice can have and an appearance can have, even while doing the exact same actions.
Yeah, that's a good point. I suppose, like, when he's British, he's, like, dapper and kind of gentlemanly. Sort of
Well,
your Captain
sort of-
Starlight
He's
kind
a sort of cockney gangster thing. And he comes
right.
across as much more psychotic because he has Robin Atkin Downs' psychotic English cockney voice.
Oh.
What are you doing now? Oh, you're being
I'm
nice,
saving
Hulk.
people, yeah.
Now don't throw that guy at a wall. There, good boy.
That was lucky because I forgot which button I'd mapped to what, and I almost just pegged him across the screen, which wouldn't have been good.
Hulk wasn't much for random...
Okay, so there's a guy in each fire.
Why are they standing in the fire then?
I'm not really sure.
I think these guys...
Kind of deserve to burn. This is...
yeah, these guys should learn a bit of survival skills.
And
And the
gonna blame
basic...
some victims. It's gonna
and
be
the
great.
basic amount of self-preservation.
Don't stand in fire! Dick brain.
Gat Out of Hell seems to follow on from Saints Row 4 and depicts the boss being kidnapped by demons of the underworld, and Johnny Gat has to go in and save
What is it,
him.
while they're playing, like, Dungeons...
No, they're playing with the Ouija board.
I
the gist.
accidentally ran into people, and...
Well, he's off the building, isn't he?
That's... Yeah, let's
Yeah.
find the good in this.
Yes.
That's, yeah. They're not burning anymore. That's, you know... Flying through the air, I'm sure, is a lot of fun.
Well, there are two guys in that fire.
Yeah, there's
Why didn't one guy say to the other, "Hey, do you want to get out of this fire?"
There's literally... It's just people standing in fire. That's...
This seems a bit silly.
You're dumb even to the Hulk. And he ain't exactly a fucking brains trust to begin with.
Hulk, not Professor Stephen Hawking, but Hulk think you thick.
What's the other one? I bought a 3DS. Now, but bear in mind, I bought it second hand, and I didn't buy like a regular 3DS. I bought a 3DS XL, so it was only like $130.
Well, you're a bit behind the game, aren't you?
Well, I bought it like... What was it? Oops. I pushed the wrong button.
You're the best, Hulk.
I took him to the edge, and I was just like, you know what? Boing!
Hulk, free you now! Be free!
Going to hug him and pet him and name him George.
Hulk, big hero. Hulk, save humans from fire.
Puny human, not flameproof. Yeah, and honest to God, as I was mulling over whether or not to buy one, because there are a bunch of good games out now, I'm really enjoying Fire Emblem, strangely, which I didn't expect to do.
Okay.
What?
That's the turn-based one, isn't it?
Yeah, but kind of turn-based, but also like more strategy-y as opposed to just sort of.
I'd argue that turn-based is the most strategical of all the styles.
Oh well, not just like yeah, there's that, but I mean like it's your little guys are on the screen and you move them like where you're placing. Oops.
You're the best. You're the best around. Yeah, they were dead already. You punched him.
Yeah, that mission ends on kind of a downer, I think. Because it just keeps making civilians.
Oh,
so.
you won.
And yeah, and as I'm there deciding whether or not I should bother to buy one of these things, or, you know, what am I doing? Am I missing out on gaming? Do I really have time? Etc, etc. The thought goes through my head, what are the odds they'll announce or release a fucking new one?
The thing is...
Nah.
And they've announced a new 3DS.
Yeah, faster with a little thumb... I don't want to say pad. Alright, kick the can.
I don't see the point, frankly. I mean, they say, you know, they're going to improve the graphics somewhat, but...
Well, it's gonna have Xenogears, or Xenoblade Chronicles, or whatever the hell it's called. That terrifyingly large game.
I'm not into the Xeno series. I mean, it seems like
it's a good game. It's
for
really,
a
really
for a
big.
handheld. I think the 3DS graphics are perfectly adequate. Well, I've said that about the last 2 console generations.
Alright, I'm not allowed to pick it up. Oh, wrong way, Gabriel.
Seems like there's been a disproportionate number of DSs throughout history.
Nintendo's funny like that with their handhelds. I mean, to a degree, good, because the original 3DS was way too small for my colossal man hands.
What are you trying to do now?
Nudge a car over somewhere else.
Are you trying to achieve anything, or is this just Hulk's playground?
This
is Carnival of Hulk.
To that, the mission was called Kick the Can.
Get car to spot, win teddy bear.
Yeah, I can't seem to punch it or do anything to it either. It's literally just charge into it.
Yeah, just kick it along like the heads in blood.
This is an awful mission. I hate this mission. I'm sad now. This mission's upset me.
This mission's pretty dumb.
Fuck it. I'm quitting this mission.
You're doing it wrong.
Abort.
Abort.
It's my body, my choice. Abort. Fucking get rid of that fucking thing.
Take it you won't be getting one of the new 3DSs for a while then.
Well, the annoying thing is it comes with things that I wish the 3DS I bought had. So I'm like, this really should have had an extra little fucking controller dealie so I could have fucking twin sticks. This one does. Extra fucking shoulder buttons would be nice. This one has that. You know what would be fun? Being able to play Xenoblades on the move. This has that. So it does all these things that I really would enjoy, but you
need more than one pair of shoulder buttons on the DS.
If you've got an extra thumb controller, yeah. Like if your right thumb is going to be getting used for camera steering or some other sort of function, you will need extra shoulder, more than 2 shoulder buttons.
Well, wouldn't the DS have to be a lot thicker to accommodate 2 shoulder buttons?
No, it's rather it's not. I'm
just trying to
horizontally oriented, not depth oriented. So they're on the same plane. They're not like kind of nudged over.
Right.
I gotta buy some kind of upgrade to do the next story mission. I just can't be fucked doing that. Yeah, so I now gotta think about whether I'm buying.
Or if on the plane, that's gonna get confusing, I'd have thought.
At any rate, though, I think it's a step in the right direction. I just wish they'd taken it maybe like in another 2 years and made it a sort of more significant upgrade to the graphics and system. But here we are.
And I guess you're pairing the outer buttons with outer buttons and the inner button with the inner
I'm expecting to have the same problem I think a lot of fucking lumbering Western galoots will have, which is terrifyingly bad hand cramps.
I do have that problem, and I'm a larger-handed gentleman.
Yeah, you've got like almost Hendrix spider fingers going.
I was looking online for maybe some like artificial Xbox controller style grips that one can clip onto the DS.
Do they not have that?
I think they do, but I can't seem to find any at present. And I don't use the 3DS that often enough that I can justify it. Although it does occasionally come out with a game that interests me,
like what?
Which is more than a lot of them. Well,
what have been some quality 3DS or DS games from Croshaw? Well, Crowshaw's Quality Corner. Here you go.
I like playing all the Castlevanias on the 3DS. Although, to be honest, I've played all those on emulators. I like the Mario and Luigi RPGs.
You do really enjoy those.
Both the Paper Mario and the Mario and Luigi flavors. I just think they're fun.
They're a little more self-aware.
Yes, that's what I like. I like that they're a little more irreverent with the precious Nintendo property. Although less so with the last Paper Mario, which seemed like it was towing the line. And I found that rather disappointing.
I don't think I've ever actually played through any of the Mario RPGs.
Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, still one of my favourite games on the GameCube. I think I'd almost say my most favourite game on the GameCube.
Well, there we go.
At least if we're talking exclusives.
Take that, giant purple gorilla.
How dare he rip off your style?
I'm angry. Wah! Testily! Testily punch! Yes, douche.
You're certainly demonstrating your commitment to the word theme.
Yeah, there was a few other kind of things I was maybe tossing up, but I was just like, what do I think about when I think of Testily? Testily, angry. Angry, Hulk. That Hulk game on GameCube. Here we go.
I think,
for what I can only describe as what I'm sure is fucking riveting viewing. Just look at this. Whee! Woohoo! Isn't this much more fun than playing a game, you baffling mob of oddballs? How do people think this could possibly substitute for actually playing the fucking thing?
I think it's interesting as a choice when you consider that testily is a word meaning impotently angry.
Yeah, can you think of a game that really...
I think Hulk sort of represents a power
effectively
fantasy.
Angry. Yeah.
The Hulk represents a power fantasy for the impotently angry of the world.
Well, that was not a factor lost on me, but I also couldn't really think of something
yeah, there aren't too many games that have impotent anger in them.
Yeah.
Well, well, my first thought would be Incredible Crisis on the PS1.
What's that? That doesn't even ring a bell.
That was me pulling out my game journo. There.
Get out your journalism, penis. Yahtzee's got it out. It has a hat that says press.
Come and see my knowledge of obscure video game bollocks. See how they dangle, see how they shine.
They shake. They pulsate when you ask them questions.
Incredible Crisis was a very tongue-in-cheek Japanese game, basically a collection of mini-games, which chronicled the story of a balding Japanese salaryman attempting to get home while a series of improbable things got in his way.
The most interesting things happen to boring Japanese salarymen.
Funny that. I've been reading a
comic?
A manga.
A comic
I should
book?
say.
Ooh.
In recent times, it's all online, called One Punch Man, that I've been quite
You were telling
enjoying.
me about
yes,
this.
I told you about that. It's about a...
Tell the viewers
It's
or
a spoof.
listeners the things.
It's a spoof of superheroes. And the thing that I've noticed with Japanese spoof is that it always tends to eventually turn into the thing it's spoofing. And this does this a bit, but it never loses sight of its core concept, which is that the main character is an ordinary schlubby guy who decided to become a superhero, and so trained so hard he is now literally the most powerful being in all of existence.
I like that it's as a result of effort. That's a positive message to send to the kids.
Well, it's an interesting sort of... it's almost a debate... almost a conservative debate about... It's about a guy who got where he was just through good, honest, hard work, and he's surrounded by superheroes who were just handed their powers, and they're all really suspicious of him because they assume he must be
some kind of...
They assume he must have some kind of secret. But
what's your angle? You have a gem?
But he really just did 100 press-ups every day.
100 push-ups is a good start.
Yeah.
Jogging's the bane of my existence at the moment, so I'm determined to get better at it. It's sad watching me jog.
But his character arc is he basically just became a superhero because he wanted to be glory, and basically just as a hobby.
Ah.
But all his fights are over in one punch. And everyone's sort of resentful of him because he's got no dramatic sense whatsoever.
He can't get a monologue going, there's no sort of...
And he just
trails off?
Nobody
is that
understands.
What he does,
yeah, just nobody understands him.
That's a shame.
But he's a fun character.
That's good.
So yeah, I recommend that. Apparently, it was originally just released free on the web, and then it was redrawn by a professional manga artist, and it's actually got some really good manga art in it.
Nifty tits.
Although the main character is consistently drawn with a really simplistic, cartoony face, even on the same panel as incredibly elaborate alien monsters, and it's part of the juxtaposition that gives it its charm.
It makes him the schlub. It's a schlub even in his own drawings.
Yeah, an example of the other kind of parody manga I was talking about was I forget what it was called, but I read a parody manga that was sort of like a takeoff of your standard Japanese story of high school character slice of life comics, where it's just a new girl enters school and makes friends, blah blah blah. Except the new girl is just very obviously a wooden puppet being operated by a mysterious middle-aged man. So that everyone can see him, but certain authority figures are mysteriously saying, "Ha ha ha! What are you talking about? Of course she's a real girl," and it's never really.
This is
explained
exactly
why.
how I will get myself fired from teaching jobs I don't like.
After a while, I read that for a while, and it basically just turned into a slice of life high school drama, except that this girl happened to be a puppet.
I'm going to do exactly that. If I am in a circumstance I don't want to be in and feel like getting fired, gonna meet Puppet Tina.
Alright, question time. This
Really question time? I was bored. I was gonna start courting controversy, and that was gonna be my fun for the...
Well, maybe
I'm gonna do that more often, actually.
Maybe we can court some controversy here, because this question sort of really gave me pause for thought.
Oh, good. What?
It's a question from Michael Davies. Medicinal prostitution. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I can't think of the... I have read in places that it reduces instances of sexual crime.
Well, you know what my first thought was? Elliot Rodger.
See, I don't believe... I read a big chunk of his manifesto, and I don't believe for a second his problems were actually sexual.
No.
Like,
I don't think he would magically have become a normal
better
person
person,
if
yeah,
he just managed to dip his wig.
Undoing that was a long time of
But I think it would have been...
like-
I think, going by his manifesto, I think medicinal prostitution might have been a useful part of a larger recovery program.
I mean... The problem is, if someone makes sexual contact the fucking sole meaning, like the sole method by which they measure their existence, your existence is gonna mostly suck. Because even if you do get laid a lot, sooner or later that starts to stop mattering as much. Like, that's a very limited way to structure your fucking life. Like, don't do that. It's fucking horrible.
I suppose the only ways you could treat medicinal...
That's why, I do not like the pickup artist thing. It is creepy and weird, and don't do that. That is not a good way to be masculine.
I suppose the only things medicinal prostitution could treat would be mental illness of certain kinds and sexual dysfunction of various forms.
Well, I mean, there are people who, like sex therapists and stuff, who sort of also have a kind of... Like, they'll do stuff to you for reasons of assisting with, you know...
But should medicinal prostitution be covered by Medicare, say?
I mean, I think a lot more things should be covered by Medicare, but, well, that's another fucking problem.
Someone just wants to have good sex with his lady wife.
I mean, does it have to be, like, again, prostitution's legal in Brisbane and in Queensland? I think it's legal in the entirety of the country, I'm nearly certain.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, I can't say for sure, but I know it's legal in Queensland. I know it's legal in...
in legal brothels, anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah, you're not allowed to just go, hey, come over for a root, but...
a root.
Yes.
A root.
Root as a verb is always one of my favourites,
Australian slang for sexual intercourse.
Oi, love, guess a root. Let me root your mutt.
Seal soap.
That phrase, let me root your mutt, will turn off even the most horny of girls. As I have experimented on repeatedly. I don't know what it is with that. I just...
Well, you know what I found...
what is wrong with me? Why do I torture people who like me?
You know what I found never fails? Is to use a bit of the old English charm. And obviously this works best for someone you already have sex with.
You can get away with an awful... Like, that's the thing, though. Once you're fucking someone, and this works both ways, weird shit just becomes cute and funny. Like,
yeah. Well, like something I like to do is to just sort of put on a sort of casual pose, one elbow on the couch, and just say in my poshest and least self-aware voice, "Fancy a shag?"
Which you're getting to do these days, which is nice.
And then, you know, maybe one should try that on like randoms, because it seems the English accent would go a long way with that.
No, well, you know, exotic. Like, if you're in a foreign country, apparently, as being Australian is like fucking is a step up.
Hello there, my ducky pops. Fancy a shag?
That's getting borderline Mr. Beanie, and I don't know if I want to have sex with someone who's turned
Mr. Bean
on by
would
Mr.
never
Bean.
say fancy a shag.
Look, I believe that too, but then, you know, there was Harry Enfield's beautiful Mr. Bean as a serial killer bits, which were exactly how I imagined it. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
I was so appreciative that he did that.
You've mentioned that. Okay, well that'll do.
Yes. I mean, again, I think medicinal is the peculiar qualifier here. And, look, as a species, we base an awful lot of our meaning and self-worth around sex, which, to a degree, is understandable, and it's tricky to combat that, but again, like, it is good to get that first one out of the way, so you can at least know.
It's a shame...
Because once you get a little bit... You need a little bit of confidence, and it's hard to have confidence about something you've never done before.
Prudishness of sex really seems to drive our entire culture.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that. I'm not a fan of, you know... making people ashamed for how they have sex or who they have sex with.
It makes me wonder why we seem to demonize few crimes more than rape. When personally, I'd rather be raped than murdered. At least, you know, the rape stops after a bit. Being dead doesn't.
I mean, I'd take that attitude too. But
I mean, the thing
again, I've never been raped.
But in popular culture, a character can...
by some measures, I've been raped.
The characters in popular culture can kill and kill and kill and steal and be an asshole and can still be, like, characterized as a rogue with a heart of gold. But at the moment they rape someone,
I'm a rapist with a heart of gold.
I'm not.
That can be the new... I've always wanted to, like, push the limits of anti-hero television, and the two ideas I had was basically the Dexter of rapists.
I'm obviously not saying that rape isn't a heinous crime. I'm just saying the fact we place it above all others.
We have a strange relationship with other heinous crimes versus rape.
The fact that we place it above all others indicates the prudishness of our culture.
Well, yeah, there never would have been a Dexter about a guy who just exclusively rapes other rapists.
Yes.
The other one I wanted to make was a show about Jim Belushi making child porn to pay for his kid's leukemia treatment.
Well, it would probably be alright if, like, a dude only rapes male rapists or something.
Well, so that was something...
I mean, it would probably be accepted. I'm not saying it would be completely beyond reproach, but it would probably be accepted at least.
Like the idea I had of, like, just sort of looking, you know...
Almost pass it off as a comedy.
Throwing on a really bad kind of woman's outfit and, like, staggering around the golf course at night looking like I'm drunk and just waiting for someone to try, and then spinning around and just standing up and, like, you know, full... Standing up, shoulders broad, chest out, and just shouting, "Reverse rape!" and then just pinning them down. Because... A, that person is never gonna even think about rape again, so you've cured a rapist. And B, no one's ever gonna go to the police about that, so I can keep doing it. Like, I could single-hand... Like, you know, it's... It'd be drops in a bucket, but important drops, I think. Reverse rape. I just wanted to be honest, I just want to see the look on someone's face when that happens.
Well, they'd probably be overjoyed, man. What are you talking about?
I don't know, like, again, rape's not just sexual, there's weird power elements. I mean, there's so many causes to it, that's the problem.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Rape's almost always a crime of power to impose power over another, rather than a crime of not getting enough.
Yeah, well, I mean, there we get back to the problem of the idea of, you know, medicinal prostitutes and helping lunatics.
Well, let's get off the topic of rape, shall we?
But I love my reverse rapist.
Okay, quick one before we pick the next word, because we're over an hour now.
Oh, really?
Jaywalkers Unite asks, please do your best impressions.
Okay, well, you go first.
No, you go first.
Oh. Well, I need a moment to prepare a little bit for mine. So
well, what is yours?
Well, I have two. Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget and Stephen Hawking.
Everyone can do Dr. Claw from Inspector.
Well, you do Dr. Claw, then you fucking...
Next time, Gadget.
Yeah, there you go. That's basically it. Okay, now do a Stephen Hawking.
Not so well. Like, it has always been
That's
my
the worst
dream.
Stephen Hawking ever. That is fucking terrible.
It has always been my dream to go into space.
When the universe was formed in the crucible of the Big Bang, billions of years ago.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's tricky, but it's a fun one to just bust out. Like,
I like Asian prostitutes to shit on my chest.
That's really good.
Look at that! I made fucking Cranky Kershaw smile. Oh, fairy got its wings today. An angel got a halo.
So you're just sort of talking inward.
Yeah, you have to talk inward, you have to be breathing in, and you have to be rasping it through your throat. And it takes practice, and I can do that because I used to smoke pot.
You have to be talking inward.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, you'll get it after a while. It's just nobody really thinks about, like, breathing in while you do a thing like that. It's odd. So that's my little party trick.
Well, my impression that I flatter myself I do all right
is another Yahtzee Kershaw. No. You should develop a really good Jim Sterling impression.
Let me finish.
No.
My impression I like to think I do pretty well is Emperor Palpatine sexually assaulting Luke.
Brilliant. I'm glad we got off the rape topic.
It goes like this.
Remove your clothes, young Skywalker.
Okay, like, for the people at home, that impression is made entirely by Yahtzee's facial expressions while he does it. That is a very animated...
It's actually useful to make a facial expression while you do a voice, because it creates connections in your mind.
Horrible, terrifying connections that I don't ever want to see again.
So that's mine. You got any more?
No, that's literally my only impressions. I can't do impressions. The impressions I do are more mechanical than they are an actual sort of clever twisting of my voice. Are we really at an hour already? I feel like we dithered too much in the start because there was. I got bored about halfway through and wanted to start.
We're at an hour and 8 minutes.
Explaining that using a current topic to explain that not everything that gets said to you on the internet counts as an actual threat.
Well, let's not go there.
Well, no, because this is what I mean. Like, you know, I have amazing experience being threatened because that used to be my job.
Well, I think it's pretty overtly threatening if they're like making direct references to your address and posting pictures and stuff.
But that's the point I want to make, is people keep talking about getting threatened or harassed over Twitter when really it is tiny, weak people on the internet and that's the only power they have.
Well,
and if you validate them as a threat, you validate them, and they'll keep doing it.
I already know what people will say. They'll say, well, maybe it's not a threat to you because you're a white male with privilege and you're physically strong and stuff.
No.
But anyway.
But I mean, no, there's this, because this current thing proves my point. You know, someone had to take an actual action because the threat had modified to contain actual threatening information. Someone saying shit to you on the internet does not automatically constitute a threat, and you block most of it by denying tiny, weak people the ability to feel like they have meaning.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, unless, again, you can say anything you want to me over fucking Twitter. I do not care. And that's not because I'm fucking white. It's because you're on the internet and far away from me. You tweet to me the front of my house and, like, a picture of you with a scalpel. Alright, that's a different matter altogether because now it's fucking different.
Okay, then.
I don't like the conflation of just, you know, everything on the internet's a threat. No, it fucking isn't. They're far away from you, and they're tiny and pathetic and meaningless, and you make them feel good about themselves when you validate them as a threat.
That's what I objected to when the Elliot Rodger thing first started, when, like, people were posting that manifesto he posted on YouTube, and then, like, the news articles are pointing out the comments under the video, saying things like, if only he dipped his wick, this would never have happened.
That really...
Say, this is why we need feminism, and that sort of thing.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, that wouldn't have helped. Like,
well, we've already established that, haven't we? Point is, you can't, tar society with the brush that you tar YouTube commenters, because then where are we?
I was gonna say, yeah, that's the other thing too. Like, saying that there's a coherent problem that you're basing on, like, YouTube comments or comment threads in general. Like, I never comment on comment threads. Yes. I know most people I know don't, because we have the attitude that that's for imbeciles. Okay, so you're getting a very bad fucking spread of, you know, a very bad sample to base your conclusions on if you think that that's
okay, we're leaning on overrunning now, so let's pick the next word for next week.
Please be dick tits.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen.
Why, what book are you choosing?
I've chosen King Solomon's Mines by H. Rider Haggard.
Dude, there was that whole paragraph about dick tits in King Solomon's Dick Tits.
I don't remember that.
That's what he was mining. That's an old term for silver, actually.
It was a diamond mine. Anyway. Yes, the original Great White Hunter, Alan Quatermain, the main character of King Solomon's Mines.
Super cracker.
Say when.
When.
Say when again.
When.
Indistinct. Plenty of room to grow there.
Damn it, see, I already have like 2 ideas for games that I could do with Indistinct.
Indistinct. Shit, I did Thief already.
Oh, Thief is gonna be your answer to, like,
funny how we went from inaudible to indistinct.
Yeah.
But we've got to abide by the rules.
These rules that have been in force since forever, by which I mean a week and a half ago.
Thanks for watching another sterling episode of Let's Drown Out. Say goodnight.
Drown Out. We'll do a magic. We'll do an actual deconstruction one of these days.
Please don't rape anyone this week.
Or threaten anyone. Ooh, I don't...
Well, you know, it might be like in a bar having a chat when someone says, "Excuse me, I couldn't help overhearing. I'm with the university radio station. We're really on the lookout for talent.
Keep looking, buddy.
I think you would be perfect to do our Sunday morning breakfast show."
See, that'd be good for you, because this is like how you make your money and how you live.
Well, doesn't that idea appeal?
Huh?
Doesn't that idea appeal?
Well, to be honest, not wildly.
Well...
Oh, wow, I could do, like, sideways wall runs.
Well, what if we said you could talk about whatever you liked and play whatever music you liked?
Well, I mean, again, like, I'm busy. Like, I have other hobbies, that's the thing, like...
Like what?
Well, actually sitting around and playing video games, which is something I don't get to do enough. Training, which... I just ripped that building. Training, which I sort of don't get to do enough, and also just being busy.
See, you're learning now.
Well, again, that's because you actually let me get back to my fucking point, as opposed to jumping in the second...
If you were getting back to your original point the first time I called you out this video, you were getting there on fucking snailback, man.
Yeah, sometimes, you know, sometimes shit just takes a little while.
Well, sometimes people get bored and stop listening.
Which they probably would have.
You cannot control what other people take of
debate.
You cannot control what other people take from what you say. Only they control that. That's why it's important to get things out fast. Like, you know when you write an essay, First thing you do is summarize your whole argument in the first sentence or paragraph. Ideally,
Well, in the
sentence.
paragraph, yeah.
And then you have earned the right to explain your position over the course of the essay because you've summarized
You
it.
do realize I do that as a thing, right?
Well, the same is true of like talking on these things.
Well, yeah, except that this is not an essay format. Like, this is a
It's the
meandering wander. This is called Let's Drown Out, not Let's Succinctly discuss topics.
Well, there's difference between
I think that's the whole...
There's a difference between succinctly discussing
damn it.
topics and remaining interesting for the listener. But whatever, we're bickering too much.
Yeah, see? And the weird thing is, people seem to like the bickering. I think that's odd, but again, what people have enjoyed out of these, and what I think they should enjoy out of these, have always been insanely different, so I just
Well,
sort
like,
of given
that's
up.
what I'm saying, man.
I love Japanese games that end in just, like, absorbing God or fighting God.
Well, they all do, don't they?
These days, yeah, it's
It's
a
'cause-
classic Japanese trope.
I suppose those Katamari levels started on the street level, that it gave them such a sense of, cathartic appeal.
You'd grown. Again, it's a journey. It's
You have to know what you've been missing.
Calm too hulky.
Like, is there a point in this game where you are not so hulky?
Well, they, like the little soldier guys, is just like, you're annoying.
Yeah, they are clearly doing shit to you.
Yeah, they don't hurt, they're just there. But, you get, like, increasingly, that's what's happening. I'm pushing the wrong button, because I forget which ways my X's and Y's are mapped on this, this here. Oh, take that,
You
regular
did it
dude.
again.
What?
You start a sentence, get distracted by something in the game, and then don't finish the bloody sentence.
Well, you interrupted me before I got back to my
no,
sentence.
you didn't. You went on to a different thing.
No,
You went,
I-
oh, a thing's happening.
Yeah, that was an interjection. I was like, oh, look at that. But no, the idea is if
well,
when
you
you're
were
mapping,
taking bloody long.
yeah. Well, also I was talking about like the intricacies of controller mapping, which is not like
Yeah,
legendarily
in the
entertaining.
middle of a sentence that you'd started.
No, I was already talking about controller
Who
mapping.
the fuck taught you radio etiquette?
I'm gonna go with the nobody.
Well, it really shows. Now, what were you saying earlier?
I don't know. I forgot. Who the fuck taught you radio etiquette? You suck at this.
I'm trying to teach you on the fly. I'm like R. Lee Ermey.
Emery.
No, it's Ermey.
Nearly sure.
No, you are wrong.
We'll look this. We'll let YouTube look it up.
So anyway, when are you not going to be in the training mode?
Well, there are little exercises you got to do, so I'll run over to one now.
Okay then.
There we go. I mean, the good thing about having the Xbox controllers as pretty much default for sort of PC these days is they map really, really, really well to the old GameCubes.
Yeah, it's emulating pretty well, huh?
Yeah.
Well, the GameCube controller is basically just the standard
You're
controller.
roaming within little, sandboxes it gives you, and you can just sort of, this is the little opening stage, so you're in like a Hulk simulator that lets you understand how dangerous the Hulk is by just
Okay, so
juggernauting his way through shit.
so technically we're not actually playing as the Hulk at this point. We're playing a soldier, playing a simulator.
Fuck you, Rock.
How meta.
So you can like charge up punches and you can grab things and there's a guy talking right now about how dangerous the Hulk is, but he can go suck it. So yeah, you can pick stuff up, you can jump with it.
Yes, look how
Throw it.
harmless the Hulk is. What's
Yeah.
that guy so worried about?
He's just a jerk.
I think he's just ableist. He's green phobic or something. He's Hulk phobic. And yes, you can throw vehicles like in Prototype at people like in Prototype. You know, I was replaying Prototype the other week and I remember liking the game, but I sort of got bored of it fast, and I'm not sure why.
Do you think there's like a pretty significant problem with those kind of sandboxy games where once the inherent mechanic wears out, you're just sort of bored?
I think if you go for a really over-the-top game,
Yeah. Like,
then you do have to have your peaks and troughs. Because when you measure the
here.
engagement of a game, you measure it in terms of how much the line waves, not where the line is.
Yeah.
If you see what I mean. See, if a line stays in the middle all the way, it's really boring. And if it stays at the top all the way, it's just, mind-numbing action all the way through, like a Modern Warfare game.
you need your peaks and valleys.
But what you want is a line that goes up and down.
Yeah.
That's how you measure, it's about juxtaposition more than anything else.
Yeah, well, it's the journey between the two lines that makes something like.
It's how you give people a sense of perspective for what kind of damage you're wreaking.
Yeah. And see, like that, like I just picked up a guy and I threw him. And another guy.
You ever played Katamari Damacy?
Only a little bit at a friend's house. I never sort of sat down and had the full experience.
Like in some of the later levels in that game, like the amount you grow throughout the course of the level is fucking nuts. Like you start off on street level and by the end of it you're sucking up continents and krakens and God. Controller setup that the dual analog stick, dual shock things just spearheaded.
Yeah, strangely shaped in purple.
With the curious deficiency of only having one shoulder button.
Yeah, I always thought that was just a... like, why?
Yeah, that's one of the great mysteries of Nintendo.
Just why in general,
They carve their own path. You can't question it.
Well, I mean, you can, but I mean, God bless them for doing it. Someone's got to.
You know the other thing the GameCube controller did that other DualShock controllers don't? Is that it clicked when you pressed the shoulder buttons all the way in. The triggers, I mean. Which I think was a nice little feature. There were a couple of games I played that worked it into gameplay, right? If you didn't press it all the way in, then blah-de-blah.
Well, like, all the way in it'd be like, you know... Oh, you dick butt.
You know,
come to Gabriel.
Do it again.
Yeah.
You know, honestly, I think the GameCube is my second favourite console ever after the PS2.
That's interesting. What makes you say that?
Well, same generation, really. They both benefited from having, like, decent graphics without the compromise of reducing gameplay to have them.
I suppose, like, what was it?
PS2 had the better third-party library, though.
Well, yeah. It's well and truly after Nintendo gave the shits to all their third-party parts.
I think particularly the GameCube controller is one I quite like as well. Like the standard DualShock, but it's got nice features, like the way the buttons for the thumb were laid out with the movement of the thumb in mind.
It was, yeah, like...
organically.
I mean, that was good for a lot of stuff. It was notoriously kind of awkward for fighting games, but... That's,
well,
yeah, that's a
who
minor...
the fuck cares?
Well, yeah, I will admit that that is a minor sort of, Ooh, I got a comic book!
Minor sort of.
Pain in the ass.
Thank you. Wasn't hard, was it?
Oh, go fuck yourself.
What? I'm helping.
You could help, like, this is the thing, you yell at me to provide filler, and then when I need filler, you yell at me to speak.
I'm not the one that needs the radio training, apparently.
Yeah, I need it for my future career of, like, begging people for likes.
You never know.
Yes, I do.
Oh, Mandy, you came and you gave without taking. But I pushed you down a spiral staircase and broke both your kneecaps. Hello, Let's Drown Out, and I'm Yahtzee Croshaw.
And I'm Gabriel. I don't have a fancy introduction.
And that's Bruce Gabriel Banner.
Mild-mannered Gabriel Morton.
So,
what was our word that we selected after we went off camera last?
Well, last week, after we forgot to do so during the record, we chose the word testily, randomly from my book Jam.
Testily.
Because it's a word I happen to like.
Testily.
Testily to mean pettily angry. Or,
doing something in a pettily angry way, I think, when you
yes.
have the ly on the end of it.
So why don't you talk us through your choice?
Well, I chose, clearly Spider-Man 2 on the GameCube, which is...
Oh, you facetious little sod.
Yes, I chose what is I think much less people played, Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
I played it.
Yeah, so did I. I think it's a...
I didn't like it much.
Really?
Nah.
I don't know, see, I enjoyed it. I think it sums up... Or like, I think it's another example a bit like Spider-Man, where it does what the hero or the character is about.
I think I remember hearing that, like, it's made by the same guys who made Prototype, as well as being like Prototype.
Huh. Well, there you go.
So I guess we know what their comfort zone is.
It's... I had a lot of fun with this when it first came out. Playing it again these days, obviously, it is, it's a GameCube title, so... Shit doesn't look... exactly as crisp as you remember it. Like, do you remember when the GameCube graphics were like...
Yeah, I was reflecting on that as I tried to see if there was a bigger resolution than 640 by 480 that it would play on my desktop. And we're now peering at it at a tiny little screen, right in the middle of my Amnesia the Dark Descent desktop wallpaper. Yes, we know what Bruce Banner did to himself.
Yeah, this is what happens when you masturbate children.
With radioactive waste.
Yeah. Alright, so yeah, you get like a... It's sort of free